I would like to help you prepare your aquarium if you're leaving to go on vacation or leaving for any other reason. Doesn't really matter if you have a bigger tank than this or a smaller one, and if you're leaving for just a weekend or multiple weeks. Because I'll walk you through all the steps that you need to take in advance to make sure that your aquarium fish remain safe and your aquarium remains clean. There are three options that are the most common options. So the first one is asking a neighbor or a friend or family to take care for your aquarium to feed your fish. Second one is a automated feeder that will basically feed your fish for you. And the third one is doing nothing and just waiting and trusting that they will be fine until you get back. Now the question is, when do you use which of the three options? So if you're leaving for just a weekend, then doing nothing is absolutely fine. Fish, even the smaller fish, will be fine if you don't feed them for a couple of days. Even if you're leaving for 3 to 4 days, then doing nothing is fine. What you shouldn't do is feed a lot beforehand to make sure that they've got enough food for the coming days, because the truth is that they will not eat all the extra food that you feed right before you leave. And all food that doesn't get eaten by your fish will land on the bottom of your tank and start to rot and pollute the water in your fish tank. Now the second option that I want to discuss is an automated feeder. I've got one right here, and this basically dispenses a little bit of food. You can control it once or twice per day to make sure your fish don't starve, basically. Now, this seems like a good idea, but actually I would recommend against using a vacation feeder unless you've got the time to prepare. I just came back from 2 weeks of vacation. This time it went perfectly, but I didn't use the automated feeder. We'll get to that in a second. Last year and the year before that I did, and that was a mistake because I only added the automated feeder to my aquarium 1 or maybe 2 days before I left. Now if you do that, if you add your automated feeder on the very last minute basically, you've got no time to actually see how much food it dispenses and if it's more or less than you normally do. So what I mean is that you yourself know how much you feed your fish, and you've learned the correct amount by feeding it for a long time, every day. And it's very hard to get the exact same amount of food from a dispenser, and in my case I allowed the dispenser or the feeder to feed too much food basically, and that started rotting in my tank, and there were way too many nutrients in the water, causing a lot of algae to grow, and that caused an ammonium spike, and that killed my fish. So if you want to use an automated feeder if you're going on vacation, then make sure that you have got at least 1 week to prepare and to make sure your automated feeder is feeding the right amount. So what you want to do is get yourself an automated feeder, start using it a week in advance, and then you've got time to tweak the amount that it feeds and make sure it's not too much or too little. Now, the third option, and that's probably the most common option, and probably one you've already thought of yourself, is asking someone else to come and take care of your tank. If you're only leaving for a week, I would not recommend this. And the reason is that asking someone else to come take care of your aquarium has killed way more fish than it saved. And that's because, like I just said, you know how much to feed your fish, but someone who has never fed fish at all will feed way too much. And that's just the case over and over again. I've talked to many people that have asked an inexperienced or unexperienced fish keeper to take care of their fish, and they feed way too much. They feed way more than the fish actually eat, and all the uneaten food drops down to the bottom and starts to rot, causing ammonia and killing your fish. Now, I just got back and I did ask someone else to take care of my aquarium, and I did this because I know that he also has an aquarium and has had an aquarium for a couple of years now. So I was pretty sure that he knows how to feed fish. He knows that fish can do with way less food than you actually think. So I wasn't afraid he would overfeed my fish. Now, if you really want to ask someone else to take care of your fish, so you're leaving for 1, 2, or even more weeks, then you need basically to train that person to feed the correct amount. So what you can do is you can prepare the right amount of food beforehand, but you can also ask that person to come over first and show that person, please only feed this amount every day or every other day. That's also fine. He or she doesn't have to come every day to feed the fish. So that's a very good way to instruct someone and to make sure they don't ruin your tank. Now, if you're leaving for more than, I would say, a month, and that happens, that can happen if you go on very long trips, or maybe you're moving somewhere, then you also need someone to do the maintenance for you. So not just feeding for you, but also doing the maintenance for you. And in that case, you have to learn that person how to clean the filter in your aquarium, how to do a simple water change, and that's something you need to take into account. If you like this video, please subscribe. If you've got any questions at all, you can comment them down below. And if you're actually going on a vacation, I would love to wish you safe travels and see you around on my channel. Cheers!